name is Munir Ahmed. I am from Pakistan. I will present my paper, Cooperation and Security for the Islamic Union. I start with the current situation of Muslims in the world. According to the Pew Research Institute, that in 2020, Muslim population is around 1.98 billion. And by 2050, this population would rise to 2.8 billion people, representing 30% of the total world population. Further, we see that there are 57 Muslim countries having strategic location and fully equipped with the natural resources of different type. But these 57 countries and Muslim population around 1.8 billion. They are not having...
Dr. Kampere, please, now Muhammad Munir is giving his presentation, and then after him you can start your presentation. Okay?
Right. So in the world, Muslims are currently presenting 25% of world population, but this huge population has no arrangements for cooperation, for security and safety. By the end of this decade, by 2030, there will be major positional shifts in nations and regions. So there is a dire need that by that time, we should make Muslim population in a position to have arrangement for cooperation and safety among them. So I will be giving my own proposals in this regard, that how to do this. Currently, there are two opportunities for Muslims. One is that this is the time of age of reason. In this age, people are moving away from religion because the traditional religion is not able to cope with requirements of 21st century. As we see, generally, this is a secular age, but this is not the case with Islam. Our religion, Islam, although it came in 7th century, but it talked about reason and logic. The reason and logic embedded in the teachings of Islam is the time now to explore them and tell the whole world that the religion of Islam is still compatible with the modern requirement. This is the first big opportunity for Islam, for Muslim countries to show the real face, to show the real face of Islam.
İslam'ın gerçek yüzünü göstermemiz gerekmektedir.
I am clear. I am audible.
You may continue.
Yes, sir. So this is the first big opportunity for the Muslim world, that they need to interpret Islam in the language of reason and logic, which is the requirement of the 21st century. And second opportunity lies with the fact that two economic systems, two big systems, the communism and capitalism has lost their appeal. They have lost their grandeur and glitter, because as we see in early 90s, communism came to an end. When communism came to an end, there was great deal of drum beating in the Western circles that now capitalism is the only economic system. For the last 40 years, almost the entire world is working under capitalism, but during this period, the capitalism could not provide the desired welfare welfare and the prosperity. So now mankind of 21st century is in search of an ideology, is in search of a system which could provide two systems, a system of good governance and an economic system which lies with Islam, because in the 7th century state of Medina, Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam had implemented these two systems which was revealed in the Holy Quran. And what I think that in this time, at this time when people are moving away from religion, it is time for us to show them the real face. And what is that face? That is that is hidden in the two words of the the Quran. Because when we read the Quran, we find two words repeatedly mentioned, Salat and Zakat. Generally, we treat these words, Salat as prayers and Zakat as just a charity. But in fact, if we have a deep study of the Quran, we see that these two words are narrated in a sequence, in the sense that the word of Salat is always followed by Zakat. These are the two systems. And when our Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was under the migration journey, then these ayahs of Surah Al-Hajj were revealed. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that when we give authority to our people on earth, they established the system of Salat and Zakat. And when Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam went to Medina, he implemented these two systems in the 7th century state of Medina. This is our real strength. Now I want to tell you what is these two systems. The system of Salat, it has three parts. The first part is faith-based morality. And the second part is spiritual brotherhood. Because first, there was a mosque for Muslims for their faith, and then the system of brotherhood which was made by Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because people of from Mecca, when they came to Medina, they were homeless and they were jobless. So there was a spiritual brotherhood which was created in the Medina. And the third part of Salat, that was the Misake Medina, the Treaty of Medina, which was a political system. So in a nutshell, the word Salat consists of three things, which I mentioned earlier: faith-based morality, spiritual brotherhood, and the good governance system, the political system. After that, Hazrat Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam implemented the economic system. At that time, there were four Jewish markets in Medina, and Muslims were in not a position to establish a market. But Prophet of Islam was in such a hurry that he ordered to set up a market in a big tent. That was the start of economic system, and that has three parts. The first thing, it was a market-based economic system because in that market, prices were determined according to forces of supply and demand. One is surprised to read that in 7th century, when the whole world was not aware of the concept of market economics, there was a Muslim market established in the tent, and that was working about to according to the forces of demand and supply. Because one thing happened, that people that in Medina there was a lot of increase in the prices, and Sahaba went to Hazrat Muhammad and requested them for fixing the price. It is a very astonishing thing that happened in 7th century, that there was a lot of increase in the prices, and Hazrat Muhammad refused to fix the prices, because at that time there was a practice that in such situations, rulers used to fix the government without taking into account the forces of market. But Hazrat Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam refused to fix the markets. On the basis of that, German scholar Bernadette Kohler says that Muhammad was the first free market economist. So this economic system is our strength in now because Islam tells about a market-based economic system. The second thing, in that tent market, there was no tax on trade. This is a big economic revolution of Islam, that in that market, there was no tax on trade, and that there was only one annual low rate flat tax of zakat, 2.5%. Generally, we believe that zakat is a charity we give to poor people, but in fact, according to my research, which I have shown in my book, 7th Century Medina Economics, that zakat is a tax in Islam and which replaces the existing taxation system and gives that much revenue to the government uh, by which they can run their government. The third thing was the result of economic welfare, prosperity, shared prosperity. These days, we talk about shared prosperity in the Western countries. As we see in the mature Western economies, there is a cry. You see the Occupy Wall Street. We are 99% and they are 1%. What is the result? That the growth of economics has not trickled down to the weaker section of society. But in Surah Al-Baqarah, a question was raised to Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam that what we should spend on others from our income. And this question was answered by Allah in the Quran, Surah Al-Baqarah. وَيَسْأَلُونَكَ مَاذَا يُنْفِقُونَ قُلِ الْعَفْوَ. The Prophet, people ask from you what they should spend on others from the income. Ask them, spend on others what is in excess of your needs. There's a great economic wisdom hidden in these lines of Surah Al-Baqarah, that people should happily spend on others what is in excess of needs. So what I mean to say, that these two systems, the system of Salat and the system of Zakat, is requirement of the mankind of 21st century. And this is the real strength of Islam. If we are able to explore the real strength of Islam, generally when we talk about Islam, we talk about rituals, prayers, and certain stories, but the economic the systems implemented by Hazrat Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam in the 7th century state of Medina, and that economic system remained dominant in the world for 400 years with two distinctions: Islamic dinar as international reserve currency and Arabic as the international the trade language. So in this time, this is the real strength of Islam, which can pave the way for cooperation and collaboration among the Muslim world. And we can also offer this to the advanced world, to the advanced countries. Now I come to the third point of my presentation. How we could do this, how to achieve this. Because as I said earlier, this is a secular world. This is age of reason. And in this age of reason, how we can present Islamic civilization, how we can tell them that our civilization, Islamic civilization, is even now fresh and compatible with the requirement of 21st century. For this, I have proposed three-pronged strategy. Number one, awareness about the true face of Islam. As I have mentioned, that there is need to make a book, a compendium of all these three systems. Because what were the three systems? rule of law, good governance, and economic system which were implemented in the 7th century state of Medina. Now you see in the meeting of World Economic Forum in 2010, the president of World Economic Forum requested all religions to help for their economic system, because as we see that after the global financial crisis of 2008, we are people of the West are unable to reform their economic system. So this has happened for the first time in the history of banking in the West, that the president of World Economic Forum requested Muslims, Christians, Jews to give their point of view, because in all Abrahamic religion, interest is not allowed, interest is banned. So they requested that we want help from you. So this phase of Islam, these economic systems of Islam need to be discussed at such forums, World Economic Forum, United Nations meetings, and other forums, and where we can tell these people that this is Islam of today. This is Islam of 21st century, which need to be explored and awareness created about that. And then we can have a meeting, training of Muslim youth in the different countries, and we should tell them that this is the real face of Islam. And one thing very important, that this will give an ideological advantage, ideological edge to the Islam in the modern time, because it answers to all the questions. Now you see in the world what we are demanding: there should be rule of law, there should be good governance system, there should be economic system based on welfare. So this would provide us an ideological edge, because we can present it in the language of this age, with the reason and logic. This is one thing. And second thing, which is very important, because I am basically an economist, I have worked in Central Bank of Pakistan. We don't know the exact economic potential of Muslim world. As I said earlier, there are 57 Muslim countries situated at strategically important locations and equipped with a number of resources, but we don't know what is the economic potential of all Muslim countries. So the second thing, where it is must for us that we should have an economic potential of all Muslim countries. We should make a country profile of all Muslim countries. And on the basis of that, we could devise certain strategies, certain initiatives. For example, the concept of the counter trade, because Muslim countries which they are exporting from other countries, they could trade within themselves. When we have that data with us, when we have that complete economic profile of all Muslim countries, on the basis of that, we can make strategy. And then, as we see in the Muslim world, some countries are advanced and some countries are lagging behind. In economics, in banking, there is a concept of a lead institution. So those Muslim countries which are advanced, like Turkey, Malaysia, Pakistan, Iran, Saudi Arabia, other countries, they can work as a lead country for others. Those countries which are lagging behind, those should be identified, and they should learn from the achievements of other Muslim advanced countries. For example, I take the name of Turkey. They are having a very good health system, advanced countries. So those Muslim countries which are poor in those areas, they can learn from Turkey. And similarly, is case of Pakistan, Bangladesh, They are very advanced in textiles. So they can, and Malaysia, they are advanced in electronics. So when we shall prepare this economic profile, we can guide our Muslim brothers, our Muslim countries, those who are lagging behind, to come forward and learn from their advanced Muslim brothers. And thirdly, when we shall have this study of economic potential, we shall be able to advise the, the coming opportunities in the whole world. It would be a sort of advisory service for our Muslim brothers, that these are the emerging economies, these are the emerging opportunities where they can go, they can invest, and they can make their country develop. And third thing, why I am talking about a grand agenda, because first I say that we should explore the real face of Islam, and then I say we should prepare economic potential of Muslim countries. How we could do this? For this, we need a strong institutional arrangement. Currently, we have only one institution, OIC, Organization of Islamic Countries, which is the apex institution which talks about Muslim, which takes into account, which protects Muslim interest of Muslim countries. For this grand agenda, we need to streamline our institutional arrangements. Firstly, we should strengthen the structure of OIC, because what I have searched on Google, there are 6 sub-offices of OIC. Among those, 3 are in the non-Muslim countries and 3 are in Muslim countries. But I think, because to do this great job for Muslim Union, for Muslim cooperation, we should add regional dimensions to the structure of OIC. We should have OIC organization on a continent basis. For example, we should have Asia chapter of OIC, where all Muslim members of Asia be member of that regional office of OIC. Similarly, we have OIC chapter for Africa, and where all Muslim countries in Africa would be member, and then they will make studies about their countries, their member countries, any situation, any good performance by the people of that country. And we see that Muslims all over the world, Muslims have established their excellence in the West, in the European countries and America, elsewhere, because whenever they go there in their individual capacity, they show excellence, and that is recognized worldwide. So when we shall have this regional chapter of OIC, then we shall be able to present Muslim interest, Muslim excellence in different countries in a better way. And second thing I would like to suggest, that in the past, Pakistan had a regional cooperation development agreement between 2 countries, Pakistan, Iran, and Turkey. And that cooperation pact worked good in the beginning, but in the later years, it could not be used. I suggest that in each continent, we should have such agreements between Muslim countries, or because they should, what I think that we should now extend, we should enhance the scope of our RCD, and we should have similar agreements in Asia and in Middle East and in other countries, that where we could explore the potential of Muslim countries, we could highlight that, and we could further strengthen that. Then one thing more, that that we should also have a cooperation pacts. We shall also have arrangements of networking between Muslim countries. When we shall do this, then we shall do this, different youth, particularly I am much enthusiastic about youth of Muslim countries because they are getting education, they are aware of now their past glory, and they have a passion to bring that past glory into their present life. So when we shall make these arrangements, as a result, we shall be able to provide better representation of Muslim world for cooperation. And if we need, we can make another institution, which is a companion institution to OIC, that will be working under OIC in the field of economics, in the field of politics, because a lot of work is required to be done. So when we shall follow this three-pronged strategy, I am sure that we shall be creating an environment for Muslim cooperation. Because if we see the current situation, there are some difficulties in regard of Muslim cooperation because there are some differences. So, in my opinion, we should not start with our weakness. We should start with the strengths of Muslim world and work on this agenda that we should have the real face of Islam, and for which we should create awareness, and then we should have a study on economic potential of Muslim countries, and the third, the arrangement. And now I see the last thing about the phasing of this initiative, because the awareness program, in my opinion, if we start even today, and I am happy that a conference arranged by Turkey, ASSAM, is a great step in this world. If we complete the first phase, the phase of awareness by 2025, then we are in a position to start work on second agenda, that is assessment of economic potential of Muslim world, and then we can start the third phase. So by the end of 2030, when the whole world will be in a change position, we shall be able to start work for Islamic Economic Union on the pattern of European Union. This is, in my opinion, I finish with these words, that if we follow this, then we shall be in a position to form Islamic Economic Union. And for that, we have example of European Union before us, and we can work on that. Thank you very much.